Okay, let's try this again, shall we? Don't ask me what just happened there, but the stream was cut off halfway through, so I don't know what I got to or what I was saying, but apologies for that, everybody. Okay, let's try this again. So Germany has had enough. The Germans have had enough, and they have made it quite clear that they've had enough with the announcement that's just come out today to what they're calling close the borders, although we'll get into that because it's not quite that simple. They're not quite closing the borders. They're going to be putting in, and this takes place in 6 days' time, this new announcement is going to happen. So we'll get into the stories and everything around this because it depends on which news outlet you read. Some are very pro this, they're very happy about this. Others are massively anti this new policy and say it is illegal. So let's have a look at this then. And actually, if you actually listen to what they're saying, this will not affect normal EU citizens. It will not affect Germans. It will not affect tourists. It will not really affect anyone unless you don't have a passport or you don't have the correct documentation. That is really what this is about. And to give you a broader context, the AfD party, this is the Alternative for Germany or for Deutschland, have been growing in popularity, as have a couple of other parties. And as a result now, finally, you're seeing the sort of more left-wing government saying, okay, we're going to start to enact some of the things that the people want. Now, isn't that funny that they never do that? They never enact these things that the people want when the people are sort of calm and not voting against them. But as soon as the votes start coming in against them and they start going to the AfD and the other parties, all of a sudden now the government says, oh, we need to do something about this because we're losing votes, not because of what's taking place. So we'll get started with the first article then, and there's another country that's also just about to do this as well, so we'll get into that. So there's going to be more strict checks at land borders, and these will be in place for 6 months. Germany has announced that it's tightening checks at its land borders in a bid to control what they call irregular migration. In other words, illegal migration. They just don't like to use this language, but that is really what it is. I've seen all these people, oh, I can't get into Germany now. I'm not going to be allowed into Germany. As long as you've got a passport or you've got the right documentation, you will be able to get into Germany. But if you don't have a passport and you're trying to go into Germany illegally, yeah, there's going to be a few issues. That shouldn't affect anybody on this stream. Now, the reason why they're saying this is coming as a result of Islamist attacks. Again, this is exactly what it says here on the article in black and white. That is what they're trying to stop. They're trying to stop more of these Islamic State and other groups. We're not talking about Muslims in general here, okay? So just to be clear, we're talking about the attacks that have been taking place, the more extremists. That is what this is about. So why are the new German border checks being done? Well, this was because of the knife attack. If you remember that in Solingen, there were 3 people that were killed in that attack, and this suspect was a Syrian who was supposed to have been deported. That is the facts behind it. But he evaded law enforcement the whole time. Islamic State claimed responsibility for the attack, and as a result, actually, we did a video on this. I said, I think that you're going to see the public swing more right as a result of that. And that's what happened. The AfD and the Christian Party as well grew in popularity. So this is why I think we're seeing these new measures now. Interior Minister Nancy Faeser told a press conference that the new border checks would limit migration and protect against the acute dangers posed by Islamist terrorism and serious crime which is coming in. Europe's zone here allows for passport-free travel between member countries, but member states are allowed to introduce border checks if they feel there is a threat to public policy or internal security. when will they come into place then? This is going to be Monday the 16th. So 6 days from now, Monday the 16th, this is when all of these new checks are going. I mean, this seems like common sense anyway, doesn't it? Surely it seems like common sense to have passport checks, documentation checks at borders. But we're not living in a rational world anymore. People are calling upon this and they're saying that this is illegal, this breaches human rights and things like that. How exactly by asking someone for their documentation that is breaching their human rights? Don't ask me, because it doesn't make any sense. What will change for travelers then? Nothing really. It's just in and out by land if you have the correct documentation. But they're saying there's going to be a lot more, expect more traffic jams and train journeys to take longer, because they're going to have to do all of these checks on people. Now, they've already got these temporary controls along the border with Austria. They were implemented in 2015 to counter a large influx of illegal migrants who stayed in place since then. And these are in place until November 2024. But I think those checks will probably be extended. Temporary controls along the border with Poland, Czech Republic, and Switzerland were also introduced last year. And that was as a result of the swell of illegal migration across the border. And they're in place until the 15th of December 2024. I think they will extend as well. Now, they're also going to extend these new land borders with France, Luxembourg, and Belgium, the Netherlands, and Denmark. In fact, if we pull up the map here, let's just pull it up. Here's the map. You can see Germany is going to be somewhat of a fortress, I guess we can say here, because they're going to have these border checks with all these other countries. So this is going to be very, very interesting indeed as to how these routes are going to go then with the migration. Very interesting indeed. And this article is out of Al Jazeera. It says, why is Germany imposing more restrictions? And it says this is because of the stance on immigration amid far-right gains and the coming elections. That's the key thing here. It's the coming elections. So Germany's centre-left government has decided to impose temporary land borders, and this is what they're calling due to irregular migration. I don't know why they use this word. It's illegal migration. That's what they are looking to stop. And I don't even understand why it's such a sort of negative thing to even mention this. That's what it is. I mean, why do we keep getting all this rhetoric all the time and being told if you use the word illegal, then there's something wrong with you? The word in itself, if we just look it up in a dictionary, that's what the word illegal is. I mean, it's baffling that we keep having all this stuff all the time and people say to me, oh, you can't use that word. That is what it is. It's illegal. So this is in the wake of the knife attack and the electoral gains made by the far right party, or the AfD. And let's see what else I wanted to show you on this. Okay, so here's the plans then. They'll start on September 16th and they'll last for 6 months. Temporary controls are to be imposed at the land borders France, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Belgium, and Denmark. And this will add to the restrictions already in place in Austria, Czech, Poland, and Switzerland. Now, this was the other one. Let me just see. There was one other story. In fact, let me show you this one by the Times a moment before we go on to this story, which is a bizarre one. So the Times have taken a different approach, and they say that Germany's risking chaos after announcing these checks at their borders. They're saying it's illegal, that the EU should be getting involved and stopping this, and that Germany should be open. And it says that it's clear that they're attempting to return illegal migrants and asylum seekers. Well, there's a big difference between illegal migrant and an asylum seeker. Someone who is legally seeking asylum, there's whole conventions and laws around that. But why they're trying to protect illegal or economic migration, especially when there's definitely criminal gangs in amongst this, or there's people who commit terrorist acts. I don't know why the Times would want to protect those people. It's very, very strange indeed. This was the press conference then. We're strengthening our security through concrete action, and we are continuing our tough stance against irregular migration, she called it. Although we achieve strong protection of the EU's external borders, I don't think you do, but okay, we must control our national borders even more closely. These controls are for effective rejections, and it serves to further limit illegal migration to protect against the acute dangers of Islamic terror, is what she's saying. The Social Democratic Party insisted that her plans included a model for effective rejections that comply with the EU, but this is after Austria has now reacted with anger to this proposal. The Australian Interior Minister said that this is completely unheard of, that they can't return the illegal migrations or do pushbacks, because then Austria is going to get overwhelmed and Germany's the bigger country, and then you can see how this is getting into a heated debate here. He said there's no room for maneuver here, he told Germany. It's the law. I've directed the head of the federal police to not allow any returns. Austria will therefore not accept any persons rejected from Germany. Germany's notified the EU Council of this and the EU Commission, and they said that this falls under their laws, the EU laws, when they're getting overwhelmed. So in a way, Germany is admitting that they are becoming overwhelmed, and they're a huge country. So you wouldn't think that would be the case. Germany's conservative opposition has demanded that all foreigners without documents or asylum seekers who are already registered in another EU country must be sent back to that country. The Christian Democratic Union leader warned that if the federal government wants us to go down this path together, then that can only happen if we turn people away at Germany's external borders. Now, I don't know if you know about this, but last week, police in Munich shot and killed a gunman. Were you aware of this? It had a little bit of press coverage, but not a lot. So he traveled from Austria to attack the Israeli consulate on the anniversary of the 1972 Munich Olympics. So I didn't see a huge amount of coverage of that. Maybe there was a lot of other things going on that day, but that's also something that happened last week. Since Germany ordered partial controls on borders with Poland, the Czech Republic and Switzerland in December, 30,000 people have been turned away back to those countries alone. Let me show you this story then. This is out of Remix. There's been a free speech meltdown. German Green MP proposes banning X in Europe. He says that a ban would reduce the spread of radical views. Now, if you actually look into this, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. And the reason why is because he thinks social media is the reason for this. We must stop the spread of anti-human and anti-constitutional content on the internet. Violations of applicable law must be punished consistently. With regard to social networks, this means that they will be blocked if necessary. This would also include the X platform owned by Elon Musk. Everyone's going after Elon at the moment, which the left views as an imminent threat due to its emphasis on free speech. Now, this is the police, he's the police union of Germany. Have a listen to what he's just said.
Ja, unser Land hat sich verändert und nichts daran ist positiv. Deutschland ist kein sicheres Land mehr. Wir haben ein massives Problem mit dem Tatmittel Messer. Die Migrationskrise ist in allererster Linie eine Kriminalitätskrise. Und die größte Gefahr für Leib und Leben der in Deutschland lebenden Menschen geht ganz klar von Islamisten aus. Diese Realität gilt es nicht mehr zu ignorieren und nicht mehr zu tabuisieren. Jetzt gilt es, die Realität anzuerkennen und klare Maßnahmen im rechtsstaatlichen Kampf eben genau gegen diesen sicherheitspolitischen Wahnsinn umzusetzen.
There we go. And this was the other one I wanted to show you just quickly then. Poland has extended its duration of its exclusion zone along the border with Belarus. This is a 56-kilometer long exclusion zone, and this is going to be extended for another 90 days to combat illegal immigration. So what we're seeing then is we're starting to see movement within the EU, so pushback by member nations. They've said the zone brought concrete good results. It's primarily aimed at people smugglers. Why you would it doesn't make any sense. Again, they're trying to stop things like people smuggling and illegal migration across the border and things like that, where people have the opportunity. I don't know. I've got to be careful because I'm watching this stream, by the way. You'll notice I'm a bit off today with the stream because the first time I tried to stream, it didn't work. So I removed loads of keywords from the tag section. The second time I get a minute and a half into the stream, and what happens to the stream? The stream just cuts. It just goes offline for some reason. So I removed all the tags, put some other tags in, and we seem to be okay. But you can see it's thrown me off because this sort of thing happens all the time. It's very frustrating, and I don't know if I'm still live. I have to keep checking the thing and think and look at my notes all at the same time. What a wild world that we live in now. It's unbelievable. Let's just wrap it up there for today. We'll come back tomorrow. There's lots more things going on this week. So much going on to cover. So thanks as always for being a subscriber here. Really appreciate you. Take care. God bless. I'll see you tomorrow.